Hey, everybody. Hey, so good to have you on this training, both for our Unleashed Academy family and our Bulletproof business friends. Hey, so glad you guys are here with us. And without wasting any further time, I want to fulfill on the promise I made earlier, which is we are going to pull back the curtain and share with you all really the exact method and process we're applying with our clients to help them scale healthy seven-figure businesses utilizing systems and team. And really think this training is going to be a breakthrough. And honestly, it's never been more relevant because in the midst of crisis, so many people in the past have become millionaires who the guys, the playing field in a recession or in crisis is leveled for the small business owner. And so there has never been a time for you to seize the moment, get your strategy dialed in, make sure that you have your systems in place to buy back your time so you don't stay stuck in self-employment. And guys, the market is full of A players who are waiting to be empowered with a great business vision. And so this is going to be an incredible training if I'm speaking to you and you're a market leader who thinks like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's training. If you're excited to be here with us, let me know by dropping in the comments below, and we are going to get started here. Woo, woo, woo. Let's go. All right, so I'm sharing my desktop here with you guys. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. And play. Today's training, how to escape self-employment trap, the self-employment trap, and scale a healthy seven-figure business. Regain your time freedom in the process using the Unleashed CEO system. Guys, this is the exact method we've used to help so many amazing business owners who are kind of stuck in the weeds of their own business, break free, get back their time freedom, and finally build the business that they truly love and wanted all along. So this is for you if you're a serious six-figure business owner. Today is not going to be as helpful for you if you are not serious and you're just kind of playing around in the entrepreneurship space. Man, today's probably not for you. If you're driven to make an impact in the world, that's a big part of the people group we partner with. And so if your heart in business is to make an impact in the world, then this is for you. And lastly, if you're looking to partner with the right people to scale faster while regaining your freedom in the process, today is for you. And I think you're going to find a ton of value out of what we're doing today. So I want to talk a minute about the self-employment trap. What do I mean when I say that? Because so many business owners I know are stuck here and they don't even know it. Let me give you guys a picture of what the self-employment trap looks like and how to know if you yourself have fallen prey to this insidious thing. Here's kind of what it looks like. If you're feeling a constant pressure to sell in your business, and a lot of times it feels like you're riding the revenue roller coaster. You have feast and famine months where everything seems great one month, and then you get stuck and bogged down in fulfillment, and suddenly you got to turn around and ramp up sales again before everything goes under. If that's you, you might be stuck in the self-employment trap. Another way is maybe you feel like you're just stuck in the weeds fulfilling all the time. It's hard to stay focused on the vision because you're always stuck in the weeds fulfilling on the work that you sold. You're always feeling behind, out of time, and like it's all on you. Like there's a looming mountain of work waiting for you when you go to the office, or maybe even when you're at home with your computer. And speaking of which, ultimately, it's all on you. You're playing chief everything officer by day. That's a different type of CEO. And you're playing professional firefighter by night, putting out the fires that come in via email or text, maybe from your team, maybe from your clients. But ultimately, day and night, it's all on you. And this is how most six-figure entrepreneurs feel running their business. This funny cartoon I found is you kind of almost have to be a little crazy to be an entrepreneur. You have to pretend like everything's fine, even when it's all on fire around you. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, that creates an environment where burnout can happen. And even the best of us who started out with the best intentions melt under that level of pressure at some point. Another way people describe this, our clients, is that they feel unable to assemble a team they can trust. You know, they end up being micromanagers and middle managers instead of entrepreneurs, or worse, maybe they were betrayed by people they've hired in the past. And there's just mayhem in the small team that they have been able to assemble. And they end up playing this role that they ultimately never wanted, which is called micromanager. Or maybe the real truth, and this is what makes my heart so passionate for this people group, is maybe you're battling burnout behind the scenes. the late nights have caught up with you and you find yourself having to not be with family, not enjoy life the way you wanted because there's constantly a demand on your time and you feel captive to the demands of your business. And, late nights, a lot of blue light laying in bed from your computer or your phone. And unfortunately, that leads to bad health habits and feeling like you're burning the candle at both ends, maybe even a bitter significant other, right? That's what the self-employment trap looks like. And I have to ask this question after sharing that is typical entrepreneurship a trap? Come on, guys. Like, where was Admiral Akbar when we needed him? It's, like, where was that guy? Why was he not around to tell us that, man, this thing that we started out to do in entrepreneurship that we thought would set us free actually ended up being the very thing that kind of enslaved us, right? And that's the self-employment trap. And unfortunately, that is what a typical entrepreneurial mindset can lead you into, a semi-successful business in which you find yourself trapped. And I can relate to this because I lived this story myself. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Richard Shaw, and my business almost killed me. I remember even very early on walking into my home after a long day of working my two businesses at the time and wanting to curl up in a fetal position, just absolutely exhausted from another grueling day of entrepreneurship. And I said to myself in that day, why did I think I could do this? You see, I was burned out. I was trying to do too much at one time in too short of a time all by myself. I had a lot of bad habits that had crapped up as a result. My business was bloated. We were trying to do too many things and weren't strategic and simple. And ultimately, we were getting betrayed and stabbed in the back. We were hiring the wrong people, partnering with the wrong people, and it was causing massive amounts of stress. And on top of that, to add to the financial stress, I was buying all of these courses and coaching programs that were supposed to help me, but really ultimately didn't deliver any results or get me to my end destination. And that was the day that I quit being an entrepreneur. I quit. That was the day I quit. But I may have quit, but I actually signed up for something different that day. And I determined that I was going to escape the self-employment trap and become a leader and CEO who can empower others. And guys, today's training isn't theory. Thankfully, after that day, I've been able to successfully do that in multiple of my own businesses. I've been able to found 7 ventures in various niches. I spent 7 years as an executive team leader building out a massive 50-person org chart from that started with just 2 people in a room, grew a team from 2 to 50 and learned how to empower and lead and do that successfully. And as a result, I became, instead of a serial entrepreneur, a serial systemizer and staffer, and knew that that was the road to freedom and to actually accomplishing my vision. And as a result, I've had the opportunity to consult with billion-dollar organizations and have also helped scores of other entrepreneurs scale their businesses so they can act more like a leader and CEO than just staying stuck in the self-employment trap. And so that's our mission as a team. We're really here to help impact-driven 6-figure entrepreneurs scale without burnout and regain time freedom by becoming unleashed CEOs. And here's what we know. Our big, hairy, audacious goal is when we do that, we see this 10,000, this global tribe of 10,000 impact-driven CEOs who we believe will lead 7-figure healthy companies and give generously to make Earth more like heaven. And that's why I'm sharing the information in today's training at no charge, even though many of the things you're going to learn are what we have clients literally spend 5 figures, 6 figures to learn from us over time. Like, these principles will help you get out of the self-employment trap. And I believe that as you do impact-driven entrepreneur, you will make an impact in the world. And that's why you deserve to have this training and the resources within. And this has never been more needed in culture than today, guys. What we are going through right now as a nation and as the world, it was an awakening for us. COVID was an awakening for businesses that are built on hustle. And the new economy requires that we learn to build businesses that are bigger than ourselves. And I believe not only for our own preservation and protection, but we have a responsibility and an opportunity to become a shelter in the storm and stem the rising tide of unemployment by building businesses that empower others. Now, I want you to imagine this with me. Imagine living what we call the unleashed CEO lifestyle. Imagine being free to do what you love, showing up powerfully daily, leading a winning team you trust, and making an impact and a profit. Well, my friend, that's what we want for you too. And in this training, I'm going to share with you the exact method to actually do that. And here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn what we call the unleashed CEO system. And this is technically a 4-part system that we use to help six-figure business owners scale past 7 figures without burnout and regain time freedom. We break that up into a couple phases that I'll share with you today. But I want to begin by sharing an analogy with you for what it looks like to scale and grow a healthy business. And it's really the analogy of a tree. Everybody loves nature analogies, so I'm going to give you one today. Think about a tree for a second. It takes many different things to be healthy for a tree to successfully bear fruit. And the same is true of your business. The fruit in this case is impact and profit. All of us want to make a bigger impact and we want there to be more profit at the end of the day. But what elements have to come together for that to be possible, for that to be the outcome? And this is what we've discovered over time, is that it's not just one thing. There's so many things out there telling you just need to do more marketing or you just need to do more sales. And then that you end up stuck when you follow those methodologies. So what we've learned over time is there are these different elements that need to come together for your business to be healthy. And it's kind of like a tree, right? Number one, you have to be planted in good soil. You have to have a good ecosystem around you. And we call these your habits as well as your relationships. Like as a CEO, if you don't know how to prioritize, manage your time, be productive, lead your team, show up powerfully, at the end of the day, that is going to be a problem for you. Also, you need to have the proper amount of sunlight. If you do not have the proper amount of sunlight, you will die. Your tree will not grow. And we think of the sunlight as a sharpened vision. That's being totally clear. Vision is like this thing that just comes down and it makes everything else grow within the organization when you have a sharp, strong vision. The roots also have to be healthy, right? If you don't have strong roots in a storm, that tree is coming down. And we find so often people's root systems are not strong. They don't have a simple and powerful, strong strategy in place that is rooting their business and allowing them to draw on what they need to survive and thrive. Your trunk needs to be strong to scale a healthy business. And we think of the trunk like your systems. Do you have systems set up for scale? Do you have a strong support system in the middle that your team can depend on? And that comes to the last piece, which is your branches. Do you have a self-managing team, a team that knows how to bear fruit and produce without you constantly micromanaging them? And when you have all of these different pieces of the puzzle working together, impact and profit becomes almost automatic. And when you have one of these pieces missing, you will always have a bottleneck on your growth that may be invisible to you. And so this is kind of how we break this down in our process. When you think about that first part, there are consequences to having an unclear vision, my friend, and to not having a clear strategy. And this is what we find over time. Many of the business owners we work with feel overcommitted and overwhelmed. They have constant analysis paralysis, trying to figure out, are they doing the right things? Are they making the right decisions? They're caught in the fog of war, meaning maybe they started out their business with a lot of vision, but now after time, they've been working so hard and fighting so long, they've forgotten what they were fighting for in the first place. And they have insufficient motivation to achieve their goals. And that comes from a vision problem. And lastly, they might have a lack of consistent traction in the direction of that vision. And these are consequences to not having a clear vision. And the problem is when you don't have a clear vision, you also can't have a congruent strategy. Strategy follows vision. And so what we found over time is that a lot of times we can tie back the bottlenecks that you're facing back to an unclear vision or a complex, bloated strategy. And so when we clarify the vision, we can then design a congruent, simplified strategy that you will actually be able to execute on and have the sufficient motivation and traction to get where you want to go. So this is what we recommend for every client we're working with. And this is the exact method we take them through. So there's 2 phases in our process. And the first phase is a done with you phase, right? This is where we find most of our clients, we have to work with them to extract out what is already inside of them. And that's why we do this with you, because ultimately no one can determine what freedom, impact, and success looks like for you and your business. And all we do in this part of the process is mine that out of you and help you sharpen your vision and get clear about the company that you ultimately want to build. And when you do this, there's a couple things that you're going to need to be thinking about how to do. You need to create a crystal clear future picture that you are committed to create at all costs. That's something we're going to do when we're in the process of sharpening your vision. And you need to do that if you want to have a sharp, what we call weaponized vision. Then you need to create a 3-year picture, very clear picture of where you want your company to be in 3 years, as well as a 1-year 7-figure plan. Most people are not making their plans in line with their goals. They're going, I want a 7-figure business. I want a 7-figure business. Well, have you actually sat down and defined a plan for that year that is going to get you to your goal? Most people haven't, and therefore they'll never hit it. Right? And then once you have that vision clear, the real secret is when you weaponize it. You weaponize your vision in a way it can be easily and powerfully communicated in a way that pierces the hearts of other people and puts a light in their eyes and a fire in their belly. I'm telling you, friend, when you have a vision like that, that not only lights you up, it lights others up. Clients will come running to find you. The right A players will want to work with you. Partnership doors will fling wide open. And that is the power of a sharp, weaponized vision. And once we have this vision sharp, not only do we have to let it be fluffy and let this thing that inspires us, then we have to actually gamify your success by assigning metrics that actually drive that vision. How would we break that big vision down into daily or weekly or monthly measurable goals that if we hit them, will make success automatic for you? And this is where we really like to gamify the process and help you keep score and play the game of business to win. So that's what you're going to need to do to sharpen your vision. And again, we do this with our clients and help them really be sharp and weaponized with their vision. The second part of phase 1 that we do with you is we simplify your strategy. And here's what you need to know to simplify your strategy. Number 1, the first thing you're going to need to do is get an issues list on paper. Most people never do this discipline, but it's so powerful. Putting on paper what's working in your business and what's not working. And actually having that documented, it's amazing how quickly you start to realize where you have strategic misalignment. And so you just need to put on paper sometimes, what are the issues, what's working and what's not, and define those things both from a intangible feeling standpoint and from a data-driven metric financial standpoint, okay? And you need to get those things on paper and figure out what's working and what's not. Then once we figured out what's working and what's not, we're in a much better position to create a 90-day roadmap to execute on. We're going to double down on what's working in your business, and we're going to simplify or eliminate what's not working in your business. And to do that, one of the most important strategies we help you deploy is what we call your 5 Ps of positioning. And this really helps you find the shortest path to your hottest customers. We really become sleuths seeking out the success clues that are hiding in your company's history. What are the best type of clients that you've had in your past? What are your most profitable product niches? What things have you done in the past that have worked the best? And then now, how do we recalibrate your whole strategy to double down on what is truly working for you and will actually lead you to a scalable place, more profit with less effort? And then once we have this documented on paper, then we actually have to go confirm our assumption and biases and make sure we're right. We got to confirm that this strategy works through what we call an MVP approach, right? We go out to the market, we test it, we figure out if we're right. And only then, once we know that we're right, do we actually move to phase 2 and begin to scale that strategy once we know that it's actually working. And the 5 Ps of positioning is a very powerful exercise. It's going to get you clear on your perfect patron, right? And then what are their painful problems? What's their promised land? Where do they ultimately want to go? And what promises can you make to them? And then how can you position your proven process and the steps in that process as the perfect bridge to help them make that leap? Right? So again, this is one of the most important strategies you could define in your business. And this is one of the things that we will help you map out as a client and when you partner with us, and so you'll know exactly who your perfect patron is, what their painful problem is, what their promised land is, and what your proven process is to bridge the gap between those two things. And once you are clear on that strategy, look out, because when that strategy is dialed in, you can throw almost any kind of marketing dollars at it and it will work. Simultaneously, when it's not dialed in, you can spend all the money you want on advertising, and at the end of the day, the return will be very, very low. So let me give you guys a practical example of what this has looked like with past clients. This is one of our clients, Luke. And the thing I love about Luke's story is it really illustrates so well how a sharpened vision plus simple systems can help you to scale. For Luke, it actually helped him to work less while adding 20K a month to his overall profit, not just his revenue, y'all, his profit. Talk about changing the take home while working less. Man, that's such an incredible example. And Luke said this about, working with us through this Unleashed CEO system that I'm teaching you. He said, I've hired plenty of coaches and consultants before and they've helped, but in a few hours, Richard blew them all away and brought levels of clarity to my business vision and strategy that weren't even close to what others did. My first call with Richard was worth my whole investment. And it's been so cool to watch Luke scale and grow both his brick and mortar agency as well as an online arm that is highly more profitable, is actually allowing him to work less while making more. And I love, just the amazing amount of, cool interactions we've had with Luke, where he has celebrated, and our whole family of, experts and clients have celebrated his massive growth. He achieved this in only 4 weeks in our program, which is such an amazing thing. And that, friends, really is the power of the right sharpened vision, simplified strategy, and then the right systems around it. And that really is really what we've seen over and over. Same for Jake, our client. The right simplified strategy gave Jake his passion back for his business. Jake had kind of lost his love for what he did because he had tried all of these different strategies and all these things and ended up with a little bit of a bloated business model instead of what really fired him up. And once we simplified and streamlined it down, he got his passion back. And now his team is so much more aligned for greater profitability around a clear vision and a simplified strategy. And Jake said this, he said, this was worth far more than 20K of coaching I invested in previously. Working with Richard has been transformative. 3 months ago, I didn't have a roadmap to where I wanted to go. Now I've found that path and I'm able to empower my team as the CEO. We love seeing that. And that really is, again, guys, the power of the right vision and the right strategy plus the right systems. And speaking of systems and team, my friends, are the key to scale. And if you don't know that yet, all of the marketing gurus have lied to you. Okay. The real key to businesses that scale profitably and healthily is not clever marketing. It is the right systems and the right team. And the truth, my friend, is you will either be a slave to an inefficient system or the master of systems and a team. And you have to choose which you will be if you want to escape the self-employment trap. Not mastering your system will stunt your growth and it will keep you stuck. And the wrong approach to systems can waste a ton of time. Excuse me. The wrong approach to systems can waste a ton of time and resources. I'm getting going with you guys today, losing my voice in the process. Also, I find a lot of entrepreneurs end up doing what I call shoot from the hip hiring. And this always leads to greater stress and a profit loss. And so we have to become a master of systems and team. But the reality is this doesn't happen overnight, this level of mastery. And if you want to scale fast, you can't focus your time and energy on becoming a systems guru and an HR pro. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to partner with the right people who are experts in those areas. And that's why phase 2 of our process is actually a done for you process. This is where we partner with you and help you set up systems for scale. And the first phase of phase 2 is we really work on your systems. We begin with your vision. We make sure we're crystal clear and committed to that vision before we begin to build systems around it. Then we help you map out the major steps in those systems that will actually deliver your vision. Then we really identify what is the key bottleneck here. What is the main thing that is limiting growth? And once we know what that is, we're going to attack that bottleneck with intense focus. And this is where we essentially step in and help you build out all the bullets, the details, and the trainings that would be needed for this system to operate without you. We get all of this documented in what we call your master systems map, put it together in an easy to read, easy to follow place. And then, and only then, do we actually connect the appropriate resources, software, and online systems to help you automate and streamline these systems. A lot of people start with the software step and they end up confused and frustrated and wasting a bunch of money because they didn't do these other steps. And then they didn't hire experts to put the pieces together. And this is what you essentially need to do. Whether it's us or someone else, my encouragement to you is stay in your zone of genius, get the vision on paper, get it clear, and then hire the right people to help you implement these steps correctly. And then the second part of phase two that we do for you and we do for our clients is we help you staff a self-managing team. And this is really important because the wrong team can waste more time than anything, but the right team will allow you to scale to seven figures almost effortlessly. And so the main steps you need to take in this process that we help you with is first, we need to define your seven-figure team structure before we go out and look for and hire people. And a lot of people get this wrong. They think about people first, and then they try to customize their structure to fit those people. It's the wrong way. We've got to get the seven-figure team structure mapped out and then reverse engineer from that. What kind of people do we need? And that's where we also work with you to identify the key staffing bottleneck, the key hiring bottleneck that is keeping you back. What is the main thing that is not in your zone of genius that if we staffed it with an A player who is amazing and self-managing would free you up to drive growth and do what you love? We identify that bottleneck, and then we're going to help you outline a killer success profile for that role. Reverse engineer from that a hybrid hiring funnel, which I could take more time and explain, but it's literally a way for you to use your vision to get off market candidates who are looking to be empowered and not just employed to fit perfectly into the role of your team. And then, and only then, do you invest a small amount of time interviewing only hyper qualified candidates. You do not wait and waste your time messing around with a bunch of people who ultimately are not going to be an A player and a self-managing member of your team. Okay. And this is the process we follow to help you staff a self-managing team. So here's the stack, my friends. This is the key. And when you master this, it changes everything. Imagine this for a second. And here's what we found over time to be the truth. When you have a sharp, weaponized vision, a simplified strategy, and the right systems set up, and you're attracting and empowering a winning team of A players, it becomes almost effortless to get these people on your team. When you have these other elements stacked on top of each other, A players tend to want to work for you, and they tend to want to be empowered on your team. The best part is they become a self-managing machine who just need the right guidance from you as a leader. They don't need you to constantly micromanage them and, hold them their hands to the fire to try to get them to do the work. They are after the vision with you, and you can trust them. And this, as a case study, I love referencing our previous client, Stacey Foster. Stacey had an amazing business. And he was able to grow it by 40% by implementing the right systems to lead his team. He had some great people on his team, but they weren't set up to win with the right systems. And Stacey said this about his time working with Unleashed. He said, working with Richard was like taking a masterclass in vision clarity, organizational strategy, role clarity, and goal setting. We became more focused as a team and grew our business by 40% that year. I love Stacey's story because it so well illustrates this. Another great case study is our client, Jay Paul, right? And Jay Paul, we found that simple systems plus just a few key members of his team that we're working to implement has allowed Jay Paul to go from sporadic 20 to 30K months to being set up for having the scale to do 60 to 80K months. And Jay Paul said this: we went from not knowing where revenue was coming from to now being on track to do 75K this month. And we might even do a six-figure month. Partnering with and joining the Unleashed fam has been hands down the best investment I've ever made. And I love the power of the right systems and the right team to help amazing impact-driven entrepreneurs like Jay Paul scale without burnout. So here's the invitation for you who is listening. Are you the next great case study here? Because we are looking for the next 2 to 3 partners to help them who scale to 7 figures with less effort and essentially partner with them to do the things we talked about in today's training, sharpen their vision, simplify their strategy, set up systems for scale, and staff a self-managing team. So if you're interested in partnering with the Unleashed team to scale past 7 figures this year while regaining your freedom, and if you're ready to go from being self-employed to an Unleashed CEO, then I'd like to invite you to book a call with us to see if it's a fit. And you can click the link or the button by this video to schedule a no pressure scaling consult call. During this time, we'll ask you some questions to understand your business and also let you ask more questions. And then, and only then, if we both feel like it's a fit, we can share with you how our process works and how to partner with us. So if you know that's you, go ahead and use this opportunity to book a call with us. And we can't wait to explore the possibilities of helping you scale past 7 figures. Guys, hope this training was incredibly valuable to you, whether or not you decide it's a right timing to explore partnering with us. And I would encourage you, go back, walk through this process. And even if you just implement 1 or 2 things from what you learned today, I believe it's going to help you alleviate some bottlenecks, escape the self-employment trap, and use the principles and tools we have here to scale your business without burnout. All right, guys. Well, hope that was amazingly valuable. Drop a comment if you guys have any questions. If you are interested in booking a call with our team and the link isn't in the live stream yet, go ahead. You can go to my personal Facebook profile, Richard Shaw, and there's a link in my calendar profile. Otherwise, we'll drop the link in the comments shortly. And we can't wait to talk to you and explore with you the possibilities to help you scale past 7 figures with less effort and escape the self-employment trap in the process. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing rest of your day.